The warning signal, the communication. Reached music, Earth's orbital command. Center at 400 hours on a cold Tuesday. Morning, Director James Walsh was drinking his third coffee of the night when the alert system screamed to life. Red lights flooded the observation deck. Every screen in the facility displayed the same message transmitted across all frequencies in perfect English. People of Earth, this is High Commander Vrax of the Zwire Collective, your mining colony. On Kepler 442b now belongs to us. We have surrounded your settlement with our fleet. You have 48 hours to send one diplomatic shuttle to negotiate the terms of your surrender. Send only a shuttle. Any military vessel will result in the immediate destruction of your 180,000 colonists. Comply or face extinction. Walsh felt his blood turned to ice. Kepler 442b was humanity's most distant colony, established only 8 years ago. Good people live there, farmers, engineers, teachers, children. His own nephew worked in the atmospheric processing facility. Within minutes, the emergency council assembled in the command sense war room. General Marcus Webb arrived first, his uniform hastily buttoned. Then came President Elena Vasquez via secured hologram from Washington. Dr. Akira Tanaka, head of the Defense Sciences Division, appeared. Moments later, show me what we're dealing with, President Vasquez demanded. Walsh pulled up the satellite imagery. 47 alien warships surrounded the colony in a perfect geometric formation. Each vessel was roughly 400 meters long, bristling with weapons that glowed in ominous purple in the darkness of space. The Zwire Collective, Dr. Tanaka explained, pulling up files on his tablet. We've monitored them for 6 years. They're an expansionist empire that has conquered 12 other species. Their strategy is always the same: overwhelming force, psychological intimidation, then enslavement of survivors. How did they find us? General Webb asked. We've been broadcasting signals for decades, Walsh replied bitterly. We wanted to find friends in the universe. Instead, we found predators. President Vasquez studied the alien fleet on her screen. What are our options? Can we fight them? Our deep space patrol vessels are spread across 3 star systems, Webb said. Even if we recalled them all, we'd have maybe 20 ships. All of them are exploration class, lightly armed. Against 47 warships, we'd be slaughtered before we got close, so we surrender. Vasquez's voice was hollow. The room fell silent. These were people who had dedicated their lives to protecting humanity. The thought of bowing to alien oppressors made them sick. Dr. Tanaka cleared his throat. There is one other option, Project Prometheus. Everyone turned to look at him. General Webb's eyes widened. Akira, that project was never completed. The council shut it down 3 years ago. The official project was shut down, Tanaka said carefully. But some of us continued working in secret with private funding and volunteers who believed humanity needed a real defense against hostile contact. You built it, Walsh whispered. You actually built it, Tanaka nodded. Slowly, it's been hidden in the asteroid field beyond Mars. We call it the UNS Prometheus, United Nations ship, though it's not really a ship. It's humanity's answer to a hostile universe. The hidden guardian. Captain Sarah Chin stood in the cavernous hangar bay, staring up at her command. The Uranus Prometheus stretched 8 km from bow to stern, its Hull matte black and covered in angular armor plates that seemed to absorb light. Itself, weapons clusters dotted its surface like the scales of a dragon. At its heartburn fusion reactors powerful enough to light a small city for a century. Sarah was 42 years old, a former fighter pilot who had been recruited for this project 7 years ago. She had given up everything for this moment, her career in the regular Navy, her marriage, even her name for a time. She and her crew had trained in absolute secrecy, running simulations and drills in this hidden facility while the rest of humanity remained ignorant of their existence. Now the moment had finally come. Captain on deck, Lieutenant Commander James Park called out as Sarah entered the bridge. The crew snapped to attention. At ease, Sarah said, taking her command chair around her. 200 crew members manned their stations across 3 elevated levels. Every screen showed combat readiness status. Every indicator glowed green. Dr. Tanaka's face appeared on the main view screen. Captain Shin, you have your orders. The ZYR expected diplomatic shuttle. We're going to give them something very different. Understood, Doctor. How much can we reveal? Everything, Tanaka replied. Humanity's been hiding in the shadows long enough. If we're going to survive in this galaxy, we need to show our teeth. Sarah nodded. She turned to her crew. You've all trained for this. You all know what's at stake today. We stop being prey. Today humanity announces that we will not go quietly into the night. Helm, prepare for departure. I, Captain, responded. Lieutenant Maria Santos at the helm. Controls, docking clamps released. Main engines online. All systems nominal. The massive hangar doors began to open, revealing the star-filled void beyond. The Prometheus slowly emerged from its hidden berth, a predator awakening after a long sleep. Navigation plot jump. Coordinates for Kepler 442b. Sarah ordered. Coordinates locked, Captain. Jump drive charging. Will be ready in 3 minutes. Sarah allowed herself a moment to feel the weight of what was about to happen. They were about to reveal humanity's greatest secret to an alien empire that had conquered dozens of worlds. This could start a war that would span the galaxy, but the alternative, allowing the ZYR to enslave human colonies, was unthinkable. All hands, this is the captain, she announced over the ship-wide intercom. In 2 minutes, we jump to Kepler 442b. There are 180,000 human souls depending on us. We will not let them down. We will show the Zur and every other hostile species in this galaxy that humanity is not weak. We are not victims. We are survivors, explorers. And when pushed, we are warriors. Battle stations across the ship. 200 crew members prepared for combat. Weapons were armed. Shields were energized. Medical teams stood ready. Everyone knew their role. Jump drive ready, Captain Santos reported. Sarah took a deep breath. Execute jump. The Zwyres. Miscalculation. High Commander Vross stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, watching the human colony. Below, the settlement was small and pathetic, filled with simple structures and frightened inhabitants. Through his ship's sensors, he could see humans rushing through streets, boarding children onto transports, preparing for the worst. It made him smile. Fear was a tool, and he wielded it expertly. Vrax was a towering figure, even among his own kind. The Zwair were reptilian with scaled skin that ranged from deep purple To black, they had conquered their way across 3 sectors of space, subjugating species after species. Humans would be no different, Commander. His communications officer reported. We're detecting a response from Earth. They're sending a vessel. Excellent, Vra. Hist, prepare a boarding team. We'll take their diplomats as prisoners. Immediately, it will speed up the surrender process. His tactical officer studied his console and frowned. Sir, I'm picking up unusual readings. The approaching vessel's energy signature is significant. It's just a shuttle, Vra said dismissively. Humans don't have real warships. Our intelligence confirmed it. They have cargo haulers and survey vessels, nothing more. Commander, the readings are increasing. Whatever's coming, it's large, Vra felt. The first flutter of concern. Define. Large, sir, I'm reading. The officer's voice died in his throat. His scales went pale. Commander, the vessel is 8 km long. Silence crashed across the bridge. Like a physical wave. That's impossible. Vra breath. Scan again. Your equipment is malfunctioning. All sensors. Confirmed, sir. 8 km. Energy output is. It's reading higher than our entire fleet combined. Space itself seemed to tear open 3,000 kilometers from the Zwire formation. Reality twisted and warped as the Unu's Prometheus emerged from its faster-than-light jump. The ship appeared like a black mountain against the stars, bristling with weapons, its hull covered in armor that seemed to drink in the light from Kepler 442b sun. On the Dominator's bridge, panic erupted. Officers shouted over each other. Alarms wailed. The ship's AI struggled to process the impossible data, flooding its sensors, battle stations. Vrax roared, his composure finally breaking. All ships defensive formation. Charge weapons. The 47 Zwire warships scrambled to reposition. They're perfect. Geometric formation dissolving into chaos. Commanders screamed orders across encrypted channels. Some ships moved forward aggressively, others retreated in confusion. On the Prometheus, Sarah watched the alien fleet disarray with grim satisfaction. Open a channel, she ordered. All frequencies. I want every Zwire ship to hear this, Lieutenant. Commander Park worked his console. Channel open, Captain broadcasting. Sarah stood from her command chair. She straightened her uniform. When she spoke, her voice was calm, measured, and carried the weight of humanity's entire history of survival. This is Captain Sarah Chin of the United Nations ship Prometheus. You demanded we send a diplomatic vessel. As you can see, we take diplomacy very seriously. I suggest we talk before this situation escalates further. On the Dominator, Vra stared at the human warship on his view screen. His mind raced through possibilities, calculations, strategies, everything his intelligence had told him about humanity was wrong, catastrophically wrong. Get me the collective council, he ordered quietly. Tell them we have a problem. In the colony below, 180,000 humans looked up at the sky. They saw the massive ship that had appeared to defend them. They saw the alien fleet that had been so confident now moving in confused patterns like insects whose nest had been disturbed. A child tugged on her father's sleeve. Daddy, what is that big ship? The father stared upward, tears streaming down his face. That, sweetie, is Earth. That's home, telling us they didn't forget us. In orbit, too civilizations faced each other. One had expected prey, the other had brought a predator. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of one colony but humanity's place in a galaxy that had severely underestimated them. The real negotiation was about to begin. The standoff. The neutral station hung in the void between the two forces like a referee in a cosmic boxing match. It was an old structure built by a long, dead species that had once tried to bring peace to this region of space. Now, it would witness whether humanity and the Zerg could avoid mutual destruction. Captain Sarah Chin walked through the station's corridors with steady confidence. Behind her came Lieutenant Commander James Park and Dr. Rachel Foster, the Prometheus's chief xenopsychologist. Two armed Marines followed at a respectful distance, their weapons holstered but ready. The station was cold and smelled of recycled air that had been cycling for too many years. Through the viewports, Sarah could see both fleets. The Prometheus holding position with its weapons powered but not targeted, and the Zwair fleet maintaining a cautious distance, their ships arranged in defensive clusters. Remember, Dr. Foster said quietly, the Zwair respect strength above all else. Any sign of weakness and they'll interpret it as an invitation to attack. Don't worry, Dr. Sarah replied. I didn't come here to beg. They entered the conference chamber. High Commander Vrax waited on the opposite side of a triangular table. He was even larger in person, nearly 8 ft tall, with scales that shimmered deep purple under the station's lights. His eyes were golden with vertical slits, and they tracked Sarah's every movement like a predator watching potential prey. Two Zwair warriors flanked him, their armor covered in scars and battle markings they made no effort to hide. The plasma rifles maglocked to their backs. Sarah took her seat without hesitation. Park and Foster sat on either side of her. The two groups stared at each other across the table for a long moment. Sovra finally spoke, his voice a deep rumble. Humans are full of surprises. We try to keep things interesting, Sarah replied evenly. Vrax leaned forward, his massive hands flat on the table. Where did you get that ship? Our intelligence indicated you had no military capability beyond primitive patrol craft. Your intelligence was looking in the wrong places, Sarah said. We built the Prometheus in secret over 7 years. We suspected someone like you would eventually find us. We wanted to be ready. One ship, Vra hissed. You have one ship, do we? Sarah smiled slightly. You assumed we were weak based on what we let you see. Are you certain we only built one? The question hung in the air. Sarah could see the calculation behind Rex's eyes. Doubt was a powerful weapon. Dr. Foster pulled up a holographic display. Commander, we've been studying the Zwair Collective for 6 years. We know about the 12 species you've conquered. We know about the slave labor camps. We know about the cultural genocide you commit on every world you take. Conquest is the natural order, Vra said. The strong dominate the weak. This is how the galaxy has always worked. Not anymore, Sarah said quietly. Not with us. Vra laughed, a harsh barking sound. Captain Chin, you are brave. I respect that. But you are also foolish. Yes. Your ship is impressive. Perhaps you could destroy my fleet here, but we are the Zwair Collective. We control 200 star systems. We have thousands of warships. What will you do when our armada arrives? When we burn your Earth to ashes and hunt your species through every corner of space? Sarah didn't blink. You're assuming you'd win that war. We have numbers. We have Experience, we have conquered species. That couldn't fight back, Sarah. Interrupted, every civilization you've defeated was unprepared, disorganized, or technologically inferior. You've never faced an enemy that was ready for you. She leaned forward, her eyes locked. On Vraxis, let me tell you something. About humans, Commander, we've been fighting each other for thousands of years. We've perfected the art of war. Through countless conflicts, we've split the atom, walked on our moon, and reached across the stars. When we learned we weren't alone in the universe, some of us celebrated, but others, the ones who built the Prometheus we prepared, Park activated another display. This is just a fraction of what we're capable of. The Prometheus carries weapons that can crack a planet's crust, kinetic bombardment systems, fusion missiles, particle beam arrays, point defense grids that can track and destroy thousands of targets simultaneously, and that's just one ship. You're bluffing, Vra said, but his voice lacked certainty. Am I? Sarah asked. Are you willing to bet your empire on that assumption? The breaking point. Before Vrax could respond, alarms erupted throughout the station. Sarah's wrist communicator chirped urgently. Captain, this is Prometheus, came the urgent voice of her tactical officer. Commander David Jeem, we have a situation. 3 Zwire frigates have broken formation and are moving toward the colony. They're charging weapons. Sarah's blood ran cold. She turned to Vrax. Call them off now. Vra checked his own communicator, his expression darkening. Subcommander Krellel, that fool, he commands the 3rd Assault Wing. He's always been aggressive, impatient. I don't care about his personality flaws. Sarah snapped. Stop him before this turns into a massacre. Vra spoke rapidly into his device in the harsh, guttural Zwire language. After a moment he looked up, his scales darkening with anger. He's not responding. He says he won't let humans dictate terms to the collective. He's going to destroy part of the colony as a demonstration. Sarah was already moving Park Foster back to the ship. Now they ran through the corridors, the 2 Marines sprinting ahead to secure their shuttle. Sarah's mind raced through tactical scenarios. 3 frigates against the colony's minimal defenses would be a slaughter. Thousands would die in minutes. Jean, she barked into her communicator, intercept those frigates. Use minimum necessary force to disable them. Captain, they're already firing on the colony shield generators. We need to act now. Then act, Commander. Full authorization. Protect those civilians. The demonstration on the Prometheus's bridge. Commander Jean made his decision in seconds. Helm, emergency speed. Put us between those frigates and the colony. Weapons target their propulsion systems only. Let's show them what precision looks like. Massive warship moved with surprising grace for its size. Its fusion drives flared brilliant blue as it accelerated. Within 30 seconds, the Prometheus positioned itself directly in the path of the attacking Zwire frig. The 3 alien ships were 300 m long each, their hulls painted in aggressive red and black patterns. They had already fired several shots at the colony shields, causing cascading failures in the defensive network. This is the UNS Prometheus to Zwire vessels. Jang broadcast, cease your attack immediately, or we will disable your ships. The response came in the form of plasma fire. All 3 frigates opened fire on the Prometheus simultaneously. Purple Energy beams lanced across space, striking the human warship's shields. The shields held easily, the energy washed over them like waves breaking against a cliff. Their weapons are barely scratching our paint, reported Lieutenant Santos from Tactical. Shield integrity at 99.8%. Return fire, Jang ordered calmly. Particle beams, surgical strikes on their engine cores, the Prometheus's weapon arrays came to life, unlike the Zwire's dramatic plasma beams. The human ship's particle weapons were nearly invisible, coherent streams of accelerated particles moving at relativistic speeds. 3 beams lanced out, 3 perfect hits. The Zwire frigate's engines exploded in brilliant flashes, the ship's going dark and tumbling through space, disabled but intact. Direct hits, sir. All 3 vessels are dead in the water. No casualties detected on our scans. Jing allowed himself a small smile. Dispatch engineering teams to render aid. We don't want them dying out there, just thinking about their choices. On the colony below, people watched in awe as the massive human warship had positioned itself as their shield and then eliminated the threat with what looked like contemptuous ease. The revelation. Sarah shuttle docked with the Prometheus. Minutes later, she strode onto the bridge, her jaw set with determination. Status report, she demanded. 3 Zwire frigates disabled, Captain. No casualties on either side. The rest of their fleet is holding position. I think we got their attention. Good. Open a channel to Vrax's flagship. Full broadcast to his entire fleet. When the channel opened, Vraz's face appeared on the screen. He looked like he'd aged years in the past hour. Behind him, his bridge crew worked frantically. Captain Chin, he began. Subcommander Krello acted without authorization. I don't care about your internal politics. Commander. Sarah cut him off. Here's what's going to happen now. You're going to withdraw your fleet from this system. You're going to leave human space and never return, and you're going to send a message to every species in the collective telling them what happened here today. You cannot dictate terms to the Zwire collective, Var said, but his voice lacked conviction. Watch me. Sarah gestured and Park brought up a new display. Our deep space sensors have been tracking your empire for years. We know where your shipyards are. We know where your command centers are located. We know which systems are vital to your infrastructure. The display showed a detailed map of Zwire space marked with hundreds of tactical locations. If you continue this aggression, we won't just defend ourselves. We'll go on the offensive. We'll strike your shipyards. We'll free the species you've enslaved. We'll give them weapons and training. Your empire will collapse from within. Dr. Foster added, Commander, we've analyzed your society extensively. The collective is held together by fear and perceived invincibility. Once your subject species see that you can be defeated, how long do you think your empire will last? How many rebellions will erupt? How much of your fleet will you need to divert to suppress uprisings instead of maintaining your conquests? Vra was silent for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was heavy with the weight of defeat. What assurance do I have that you won't attack us anyway? You don't, Sarah said bluntly, but I'll tell you this. Humanity doesn't want war. We want to explore, to learn, to meet other species in peace, but we will never allow ourselves or our allies to be enslaved. Leave us alone and we'll leave you Alone, attack us or any species under our protection, and you'll discover just how creative humans can be when it comes to warfare. She leaned closer to the screen. We're not the prey you thought we were, Commander. We're the species that climbed from caves to conquer our own planet, then reached out to touch the stars. We're survivors. We're builders, and when necessary, we're destroyers. The choice is yours. The new order. 6 hours later, the Zwire fleet began its withdrawal. One by one, the 47 warships broke orbit and jumped to faster-than-light speeds, retreating back to collective space. The 3 disabled frigates were towed along by their sister ships, a reminder of what had happened here. High Commander Vrax sent one final transmission before his flagship departed. Captain Shin, the Collective Council will hear of this day. They may choose to retaliate. They may send a larger fleet. Let them, Sarah replied. And when they arrive, they'll find humanity ready. Tell your council that Earth is no longer a target. We're a line they don't want to cross. Vra nodded slowly, something almost like respect in his golden eyes. Perhaps the galaxy needs species like yours to remind us that predators can become prey. Safe journey, Captain. The transmission ended. The last Zwire ship vanished into the darkness. On Kepler 442b, celebrations erupted. People poured into the streets, cheering and crying. They had been prepared to die, and instead they had witnessed humanity's true strength revealed to the galaxy. Sarah stood on the Prometheus's bridge, watching the colony below. Her crew worked quietly around her, securing from battle stations, running post-action diagnostics. Captain Park said softly, Earth Command is requesting a full report. They also want to know if we should maintain our secrecy or no more secrets, Sarah said firmly. The galaxy knows about us now, about what we can do. Let's make sure they also know what we stand for. She turned to her communications officer. Send a message on all open frequencies. Broad spectrum. I want every species within a 100 light years to hear this. I captain your broadcasting. Sarah took a breath. This moment would be remembered. This message would echo across the galaxy. This is Captain Sarah Chin of the United Nations ship Prometheus, representing humanity and Earth. Today an alien empire attempted to enslave one of our colonies. They failed. Let this be a message to all civilizations. Humanity will not be conquered. We will not be enslaved. We will defend ourselves and any species that asks for our protection. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. But we also extend a hand of friendship to all peaceful civilizations. We want to learn from you, to trade with you, to build a better galaxy together. We don't seek conflict. We seek cooperation. However, to those who would prey upon the weak, know this. There's a new power in this region of space. We are humanity. We are ready, and we will not go quietly into the night. The message transmitted across hundreds of star systems. It was heard by dozens of species, some friendly, some hostile, some merely curious. The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. Dr. Foster approached Sarah as the transmission ended. Captain, you've just changed everything. This will reshape galactic politics for centuries. Sarah looked out at the stars, infinite and full of possibility. Somewhere out there, other empires were hearing her message. Some would take it as a challenge. Others would see it as an opportunity. Good, she said quietly. It's time the galaxy learned that Earth isn't just another world to be conquered. We're survivors, explorers, defenders, and when necessary, warriors. She turned to her crew, set course for Earth. Let's go home. Our people deserve to know they're safe. As the Prometheus turned toward home, its engines blazing against the darkness, humanity's position in the galaxy was forever changed. They had been tested and proven themselves strong. The question now was what they would do with that strength. In the colony below, a young girl looked up at the departing warship and asked her father, "Will they come back if we need them?" Her father smiled, hope burning bright in his eyes. For the first time in days, "Yes, sweetheart, they'll always come back. That's what it means to be human. We protect our own." The Prometheus jumped to faster than light speed, vanishing into the void, but its message remained echoing across the stars. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end.